Hi everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Southwest Montgomery County Business Brief. This week we are joined by Chief Terry Colburn and the Assistant Chief Jason Herman. And next to me is the man under the hat, Mr. Clint Strom. And today we're going to be talking about the sales tax incentive that's going to be on the ballot on May 2nd. So we're going to just have a nice brief conversation. The Chamber is not political. We are a platform to share information to the community, and that's what we're here to do today. So we're going to get into it right now.
Good morning. So Chief, can either one of you guys just give us a brief discussion as we get into this about what you do? You're an important role in our community, and let's kind of give them a heads up as to what all you guys entail.
Okay. Terry Colburn. I've just recently joined the Magnolia Fire Department as a fire chief about a year and a half ago. Lived in the community, though, for over 40 years. Grew up here, went to school here. Strong ties to this community, both my wife and I. Worked 28 years for the Houston Fire Department before I retired and come out here. Department's 168 employees, 9 stations, 164 square miles of coverage. And I'll let Jason give a synopsis of his duties.
So I'm the Assistant Chief of Administration. I also live in the community. I've actually been here since 2005, so I've gotten to witness the growth. I've always lived in the Magnolia area after transplanting from the Dallas area, and I've got to watch this place flourish and grow, and the department grow from once what was a primarily volunteer-based organization, making minimal runs, to what it's moved into today is a professional fire department with 9 stations, making a bunch of calls, trying to keep up. It's been amazing to witness how things have transformed over just the last 21 years that I've been around out here.
You mentioned growth, you mentioned transformation, so we got thousands of homes coming in to Southwest Montgomery County, and
Yes, we do.
These developers are looking at probably next 5 years. I think they're going to put down almost 39,000 new homes. What does that do to response time? What does that do to your needs for more equipment? Maybe you can touch on that for a little bit.
Yeah, it's really a simple formula. More people equals more runs, right? Increased demand. Like you mentioned, we're nearing 40,000 homes platted in our area. We're actually seeing about 3,500 homes hit the ground annually. Increased call volume, and it's not just single-family homes either. It's the commercial structure that's coming our way, the multifamily developments, apartment complexes, senior living facilities, things like that. Those types of facilities give us present a more complex run for us. You need increased staffing, and you also need to be there faster response times to mitigate those types of emergencies.
So does that mean you'll build more stations as the communities come in, or how are we looking to keep up with that? Because there's a lot of people coming in.
Yeah, there is. And you have to. If you don't, you're going to lose ground, and response times are going to increase if we don't keep up with the demand. These 9 stations where we used to be able to get further quicker with the traffic, it reduces our response bubble. There's an NFPA standard that once you're dispatched, they want the first unit on scene within 6 minutes. Well, that 6-minute bubble from our stations are continually starting to shrink because of the population and the traffic on the roads. And the only way that you can increase your coverage and increase that 6-minute response is to build additional stations in between our stations so we can meet that standard a little better.
You really kind of look at that is when you have a 1,000-acre tract that has a farmhouse on it and a single driveway in, it's easy to get into. And when that turns into 60 or 70 residential streets that weave in and out, it's easy to understand why it takes longer to get in there. And then obviously just the service demand. And One of them that we'd actually noted in talking about this was just between Magnolia Ridge, Escondido, and Audubon. Just those three. There's 1,837 lots occupied. This was at the end of last year, out of 8,665.
Yeah, that's the growth.
And in 1 year, we responded to 261 incidents on those occupied lots in those three developments, but they're only 21% of their capacity. So between three neighborhoods, the forecast is between 12 and 1,500 runs for three neighborhoods. It's significant in what you see when you take that farmhouse and 1,000 acres, and now you got 700 homes in there, or whatever the case may be.
Well, growing up out here, I've noticed your responsibilities have increased. As a kid with the volunteer fire department, if you needed jaws of life or help, is when the fire department would show up to an accident. Now, from what I see, you guys will show up, help block off the road to protect law enforcement in the vehicles. How do you also tie back into the ambulances? Because with where I live, every time I see an ambulance, not every time, but most times, I then see the fire department, somebody from there. So there's a whole lot that I don't believe that a lot of us realize that you guys are responsible for in our community.
Yeah, the fire service has been deemed an all hazards response. You know, we've moved from just a typical your fire and your motor vehicle wrecks to, you know, if it can't be solved, let's see if the fire department can handle it. Kind of just, you know, was shifted to that model, and that's okay. We love doing our job. 70% of our runs are EMS related, medical related. We work well with the hospital district to make sure that we have sufficient coverage for our citizens. We'll respond with the ambulance and take care of the citizens until the ambulance gets there, and then we'll trade off and hand them off, and they'll take over care and take them to the hospital. You know, we train with them. Our protocols are close to theirs, so we do have a good relationship with them. We also have a good relationship with our law enforcement. You might see the bantering back and forth on Facebook, but
You had a tug of war just recently, right?
yeah,
And we won.
And who won?
Yeah,
We won.
And I say you won handily, by the way. I think 3 times.
But,
Nothing wrong with the Magnolia Police Department. Sorry about that.
No. We did have a little. I'm gonna speak up for them. We had a little bit of an advantage. We had more people to choose from than they did. So,
I do know who has the calendar out, just on TV.
yeah. But no, we work well with all of our. We want to partner with every organization and make sure we have that coverage across the board, because at the end of the day, taking care of the citizens is the responsibility of us all. So whatever we have to do, we do that.
Well, in the plan of sharing information, what we want to do here is talk about what you guys are for ESD10 putting on the ballot for May 2nd, which is a sales tax increase for some of the area inside of your territory. Can you tell us a little bit about what's on the ballot and kind of why you're putting it on there this time?
Sure. Yeah. Really, Proposition A, our Proposition A, the Montgomery County Emergency Service District Number 10, Prop A, is about accomplishing 2 things. One, maintaining reliable service as Magnolia continues to grow. But it's also about shifting a funding model away from primarily property tax based to a funding model that's primarily sales tax based. And really that's what we're trying to accomplish with this proposition.
Now, how's the fire department currently funded?
So currently we're funded by both property tax and sales tax. 57% of our total revenue comes from property tax right now. Our property tax rate is 0.092 cents per $100 value. So what does that mean? If you have a home that's valued on the tax roll at $380,000, which Google says is the average for Montgomery County, you will pay the Emergency Service District $350 a year for your emergency services, and that adds up to about 57% of our total revenue.
Now, how does that change with the Prop A? Does that switch the model from property tax to sales tax a little bit?
It will. It'll completely flip the model. We're currently funded with 43% sales tax. We do have 1 cent in some areas of our district currently. With Prop A, that will increase and flip the funding model to 57% sales tax funded and 43% property tax funded.
So that funding for sales tax, is that inside of Magnolia's proper, or is that all of Magnolia?
So we have our service district is 164 square miles. Portions of our area are already at the cap of 8.25%. So let's talk about sales tax for just a second and how it's done in Texas. Nowhere in the state of Texas can sales tax be more than 8.25%.
Correct.
Out of that, 6.25% goes directly back to the state for your state services and stuff. The state allows up to 2% available for local governments, cities, ESDs, improvement districts, counties. They can take hold of some of that property tax. The only caveat is it has to be voters approved. Voters get to decide where they want that portion of the 2% allocated to. In our area currently, there are most of our commercial areas are already at that 8.25%. Right. So, city of Magnolia is already capped. Down 1488, all the commercial areas there is already at the 8.25%. Down 2978 going south towards Tomball, where the commercial growth goes there, it's capped as well. Down the 249 corridor, going back towards Tomball, most of those areas are already capped. They would see no change. Where we're asking for, there is 1% available in all the areas outside of that in our district, and that is where we're asking for the increase. What it would do, it would increase it to the 8.25%, so our whole area would then be taxed at the 8.25% tax.
Would still be some more commercial growth in that area right now as the developers are still putting down their homes. I know they have plans for commercial development, a lot of that, like Colton does, and Creston. Are those in your area, or some of them are actually carved out, right? Like Colton's out of it, isn't it?
Colton, majority of it's in it. Some lies outside of it. The back boundary of theirs is on the back side of our territory, but the majority of it is in there, in our territory.
I always like to ask this question. So if the voters approve this, the measures, what would be where would the additional revenue go? What is it going to do for the Magnolia ESD10?
That's a great question. So the first thing it's going to do is it's going to increase our daily staffing. So there's a standard right now, a national standard of having 4 firefighters on every fire truck, and currently we do not meet that standard. We meet it on some apparatus, some we don't. That would allow us to meet that standard. What does that do for the community? It gets more firefighters on scene quicker to help mitigate the emergency. It's also going to allow us to increase that coverage like we talked about. We have 4 pieces of land currently awaiting future stations. 1 we're going to replace a station with, but 3 it'll be 3 new stations. This funding would help build, staff, and equip those stations with fire trucks. It would also help us improve. We also have an aging infrastructure issue that we gotta deal with. So not only do we need to build new stations, we also have current stations that we need to expand because of the different service model we're delivering now. We need to kind of update them to the current response model.
Well, I think there's one thing that homeowners overlook. I don't think developers do. As we go through, the closer your station gets to these subdivisions, then the less expensive somebody's homeowner's insurance gets. They very much want to know where you guys are as your firehouse in relationship to where that home is. The closer it gets, the better the rates are, because that means the quicker that you can get there. And I think with so many people, that comes right out of their mortgage, and they never stop and think about it. The next year, their mortgage goes up, and, well, why is it going up? Well, it's your property taxes, it's your insurance, and it gets paid. But as they're looking at the cost to this, I believe more homes puts more people for your sales tax. They're not going to stop coming. So we either as a community fund you guys, or we end up with less and less of you to help protect our homes in commercial developments, because you're not going to stop the growth. But when you look at the growth, and you look at the additional homeowners, the additional businesses, part of that's going to be offset by more affordable insurance rates that you don't directly see, but it's a part of it.
The ISO rating plays into insurance rates, and they grade fire departments on the actual fire department, which is about 50% of that grade. 40% goes to water, 10% goes to emergency communications and dispatch, and an ISO class 1 is the best you can get. And on the insurance side of things, that'll give you the best rates possible. Obviously, natural disasters and things play into those rates as well. But it makes a big difference for homeowners and commercial business owners on those insurance rates. And we are currently a 210. So as long as you're within 5 road miles of a fire station, you're covered at ISO class 2. It's the only way we can get better is move to an ISO class 1. And the unique part is we can have times that we're covering everything in that 5 road miles, and it takes one new subdivision that adds enough streets that puts somebody outside of those 5 road miles. And the 40% on the water side, our department was built around shuttling our own water. So we're not blessed like the Woodlands that has a fire hydrant every couple of 100 feet. We know that we bring our water with us, but we're able to sustain the fire flow needed for that. And, currently that ISO class 2 is important. But as that growth comes, there's a potential that we put streets that become outside of that 5 road miles, and that's where we have to identify those holes to put additional stations. And the 3 pieces of property he spoke about for new stations, they were all strategically located and placed based off of those distances, heat maps, where the call volume's coming, and so that we can get there. And ultimately, the idea is to have better coverage. And I'll use the Woodlands as an example again. The Woodlands Fire Department covers 44 square miles with 8 fire stations. It's about 5.5 square miles of coverage per fire station. If we were to have the same coverage and density, we would have 29 fire stations in our territory.
Yeah,
So
a little more spread out here.
we're a little more spread out. What's wild is we're about the same on population as them. We're just more
Bigger.
spread out.
Yeah.
And we know that's changing each day that passes.
Well, touch a little bit on, so you talked about you're built on getting the water. So these takes apparatus and equipment. Tell us a little bit about inflation as it relates to what you need to buy now for these new stations.
I think the best way to put it is unsustainable almost. Over the last 5 years, we've seen our fire trucks increase double. They're doubled in price. 5 years ago, we bought a ladder truck for $1 million. Today, they're over $2 million. For a fire engine, about $625,000 5 years ago. Today, they're about $1.2 million.
Wow.
For one. So, yeah, the cost have risen substantially. It's not only the cost, it is the delivery time. 5 years ago, I can order a fire engine and get it within that same year, 8 to 12 months. Today, it's a 2 to 3 year delivery. So, you got to be able to forecast need and revenue 2 to 3 years out, so you can order it and get it when you need it. So it really takes a lot of strategic planning, and which we have been doing. We focused on that over the last year, building out a capital improvement plan and kind of seeing where we're at with some things. And really, that's what's brought on this whole proposition is our strategic planning. We recognize that there is a lot of gaps that we've kind of inherited that we need to fill in, and we're trying to figure out how to do that.
Well, and as we move towards May 2nd, what can residents do to get more information, to educate themselves more on this? Is there some place they can go to get more information?
Absolutely. We have a website available. It's elections.
ESD10.magnoliafire.org.
There you go.
That's why you brought him.
Yeah,
right?
that's why I brought him right
That was
there.
it. Just
Remember
that one
what's,
moment he won.
what's the website, right?
Obviously, social media.
Yeah.
If you're not following us, go follow us on social media. We try and keep it light and entertaining, keep some fun. The
I saw some videos. Yeah.
Absolutely. The 168 employees we do have, when it's time, we're serious and we get to work, but we're one big family at the Magnolia Fire Department, and we like to keep it lively. We want to keep driving down the road and have everybody wave at us, and everybody driving down the road turn their head when Magnolia PD drives by. We want to keep that up. So elections.magnoliafire.org, or any of our social media accounts. Any of our educational signs you might see around will all have a QR code that'll take you back to some information as well.
Yeah, and also don't feel free to stop in. Our office right there off Buddy Riley Road, our administration office. We'll be glad to answer any questions.
I want to encourage voters, don't listen to your neighbor. Call the fire department directly. Don't make assumptions. Far too many times over this last election cycle seen one neighbor tell another neighbor something, and all of a sudden it becomes gospel from opinion, and sometimes overriding opinion with facts can be hard, because the individuals that have their opinion, it's hard to get them to come back to facts, because in their minds, they can be good people. In their minds, those opinions are facts, and it's like, that's not how it works. So call our fire department, understand, because the growth's not stopping. If you choose not to fund them, we just have less and less help, and it ain't going to stop the communities and the developers. And Terry, what number did we decide just in the next few years? We've got a lot of just residents, not counting commercial, that we're seeing. I mean, that number was
39,000 homes.
And you can assume
I keep
3
assuming
per
that number, and
house.
it's going to jump, because that's just what we know.
Right.
And even on that map, which is the developer's map that we get from Magnolia ISD, there's a lot of space in there where there's open land still. So
It's impossible to keep that map current.
it is.
Because
It's gonna be impossible.
You hear something, hey, did you see that development going in over here? And it's like, no, I did not.
Yeah, so we got the lagoon out there. I think is that inside y'all's area too?
It is not.
That's in
It is
water. Oh, well.
But it's still pushing the growth across the county line.
Right.
But you guys have different commitments with different fire departments to do service if needed to help them out.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
we live on mutual aid agreements
Yes.
around here. So, we respond, we help each other out whenever they need it. So
Inside Montgomery County, there's really, it's wild, but there's not necessarily district lines. There is for the funding mechanism, but with technology today, our trucks are all tracked by GPS, and when a call comes in, they identify by GPS the closest truck with the appropriate capabilities. So if it's a neighboring department that just happens to be out, they might get dinged first. They still notify us, but that allows that for the response for the closest truck.
Well, as we close out, guys, what's the last message, one last important message you would want to leave to the community and residents as we get ready for Prop A on May 2nd?
Well, just encourage everyone to vote, to go vote, exercise your right, but be educated when you do it. I ask that you just find out all the information that you can, process that information, and make an educated vote. But regardless, we love our community. We're committed to our community, and we're going to protect the trust that we have with the community. We're going to be transparent. We're going to be prepared when we show up, and we're gonna be reliable, long-term planners. And this is that's what this proposition is about. It's about how do we maintain service for our community moving forward.
Can you give some guidance to the voters to where they can either go to your social media or how they can contact to get more information directly from you guys on this problem?
It would be that elections.magnoliafire.org website. That's probably the best place to go. And there's QR codes pretty much everywhere that you can click on and go to it, or any of our social media. Our social media, we've been putting out information regularly, but it's you can't put out everything. If you're one of those that like to deep dive and get into the information and see all the
Listen
charts.
to this show. Yeah, just
Right.
listen to this show.
Absolutely.
Okay, this is a long one.
Exactly.
Well, we appreciate you guys, Jason, Terry. We really thank you for coming in and sharing information. This is great for the Chamber of Commerce to have this platform to have discussions like this to educate
Yes,
the
sir.
community.
Yes, sir.
we
Thank you for
appreciate
the
it.
opportunity.
Yeah, we really
and
appreciate
inviting
it.
us in.
Yeah.
And thanks for the relationship, guys.
Oh, yeah.
Well, on behalf of the Southwest Montgomery County Chamber of Commerce and the Business Brief, we appreciate you guys coming in. We thank our sponsor, which is Shamrock Roofing. Without them, this wouldn't be possible. Everybody, Shamrock's a great company to come out, and they can give you a bid over their phone.
Oh,
So you just put
nice.
your address in, and it actually takes your roof and it can actually send it to you. So
There we go.
They'll give you a quote in just minutes.
All right.
Shamrock has done work for my family, so Terry is right. They do.
Yeah, it's an amazing job. So we appreciate them, and we appreciate you guys coming. Thank you very much.
Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.